What if the deepest regret you can instill in someone who wronged you isn't forged from fury, but from your profound, unshakable peace? Forget the late-night texts, the dramatic social media blocks, the pointed comments meant to wound. That's all just static, cheap, and easily ignored. The most formidable consequence you can deliver is not your rage, but your profound and utter disregard. Today we explore 5 quiet disciplines, 5 psychological moves that resonate far deeper than any shouted word, and when you embody them, a fascinating shift occurs. The person who belittled you, who betrayed your trust, begins to quietly unravel. They are haunted by a gnawing curiosity. They watch from the periphery. Some may even attempt to re-enter your orbit, pleading for a second glance. But the true victory. By the time they circle back, you may find you've simply outgrown the space they once occupied. This isn't about fragile comfort. This is the strategic, poised response of the resilient mind. This is applied philosophy. Let's begin. Discipline 1. Become a polite ghost. The first discipline is to become a polite ghost. When someone inflicts pain, their ego is braced for a spectacle. They anticipate your devastation or your fiery anger. Why? Because both extremes, desperate sorrow and burning rage, whisper the same revealing truth. You still hold power over my inner world. Do not grant them that evidence. Instead, offer the demeanor you'd give a passing acquaintance. After the hurt, you reveal no fracture, no visible anger, no trace of sorrow. You are composed, vacant of the emotion they seek. Should your paths cross, you might offer a slight impersonal smile or a neutral hello and continue on your way. No loaded pauses, no attempts to talk it out, no searing glances. You are courteous yet detached as a distant star. This single behavior can fracture their perception. It creates a bewildering emptiness where their influence used to be. They will wonder, do I mean nothing now? Was my impact so fleeting? In Stoic thought, we practice disentangling our self-worth from external events. You demote them from a central character to a background extra. You uninstall them from the core program of your life, like removing redundant software. They are not a villain, they are irrelevant, and remember, the antithesis of love is not hatred, it is apathy. When you treat them as ambient noise, you announce that their authority in your story has been revoked. While they spiral, questioning why you aren't in ruins, you are cultivating a deep internal calm. But caution, the pitfall here is performance. You cannot pretend to be cold while secretly craving their notice. Authentic strength isn't for their audience. It's forged in the choices you make when they are no longer in the room, and that leads us directly to the second discipline, which transforms the entire landscape. Discipline 2. Architect a radiant new reality. You flourish in their absence. Now they are gone. The stage is yours, bare and full of potential. This is the moment when genuine remorse begins to seed within them. While they picture you diminished and grieving, you do the precise opposite. Reconstruct your social sphere. Connect with new individuals, those who reflect ambition, integrity, and authentic joy. People who celebrate your journey, explore unfamiliar places, acquire a new skill. And crucially, allow your contentment to radiate genuinely, not the staged kind curated for an audience, but the deep-seated joy that lights your eyes in candid moments. This erodes them from the inside. Imagine them, as they inevitably will, glancing at your life from a distance. They expect a portrait of lack. They find a gallery of abundance. They see you illuminated, surrounded by admirable people, and their mind erupts with questions. Who are these new companions? Why does their laughter seem so full? Why does she appear more vibrant without me? Then comes the most piercing realization. They had a front row seat to this future, and they voluntarily walked away. They witness others valuing you highly, and it dawns on them. They were the one who foolishly discarded something precious. Envy blended with regret is a corrosive cocktail. Every image of your progress, every milestone you share, is another sip they're forced to take. You demonstrate a powerful truth. They were merely a chapter, not the entire book. You didn't require them to craft a beautiful life. You only needed their exit so a superior narrative could begin. The most luminous future leaves the shadows of your past behind. Discipline 3. Master your emotional climate. Your poised stillness dismantles their attempts to provoke. This is the most demanding discipline and the most potent. Think of it as becoming an unwavering monolith. The one who caused you harm will, in time, begin to test the fences. They'll send subtle probes. They'll post ambiguous, melancholic lyrics. They'll share images with new companions, designed to elicit a reaction. They'll whisper narratives to shared contacts. They'll employ every shallow tactic for one singular prize, your engagement. Discipline 3 is straightforward, offer no reaction. They bait you, you remain still. They attempt to incite jealousy, you show no ripple. They spread whispers, you sigh softly and continue living well. This is the philosophical art of non-engagement. The ancient teacher Epictetus reminded us that our peace can only be disturbed with our own consent. When you react, you hand them the controller to your emotional state. Press the anger button, they score a point. Press the jealousy button, they win the round. But when you stand, steady and immovable against their tides, they grow unsettled. Your serene indifference becomes a psychological enigma to a manipulator. They crave the proof of your hurt. They need to feel they still hold significance. And when their actions glance off you like hail hitting a stone fortress, their frustration compounds. They'll escalate. They'll send a casual, thinking of you message. They'll reminisce about better times. And you remain constant, calm, distant, unshaken, as if they're a minor background disturbance not worth your focus. The message you transmit is devastating. You have lost the capacity to alter my inner weather. You cannot bring me joy. You cannot summon my sadness. And you certainly cannot ignite my anger. Your power here is extinct. The realization that they are utterly impotent to affect you shatters a toxic ego. They lose you not just in presence, but in spirit, and that is a complete defeat. At this stage, you've secured the majority of your victory. But the final segment will define whether you are operating from a place of true, elevated strength or merely wearing a mask. There is a critical snare that captures most who seek payback, and it's woven from your own words. The next discipline draws the line between temporary tactics and lasting sovereignty. Discipline 4, the dignity of unspoken truth. No sinking to gossip, no lengthy justifications, no petty retaliation. This principle seems counterintuitive in an age of public confrontations, yet it is the hidden blade of a disciplined mind. When others inquire, when they ask about the person who caused the hurt, you do not vilify them. You don't itemize their faults. You don't audition for the role of the wounded martyr. Instead, you offer one poised, deliberate sentence: our paths diverged. My focus is on the road ahead now. And you say no more. Why choose this path? Why not dismantle their reputation to feel a fleeting sense of justice? Because composed silence is elegance. The person who injured you is braced for a conflict in the mud. They want you to shout, to blame, to expose. Because the moment you do, they gain a defense. See, they're unhinged. I was right to leave. Your outrage becomes their alibi. Your pain becomes their justification. But when you elect the higher path, you strip that armor away. Envision this: a mutual connection reports back to them saying, I spoke with your former partner. They didn't speak ill of you at all, just said they're moving forward. That statement strikes with immense force. It corners them with their own conscience. They cannot paint you as volatile. They cannot reshape the narrative into victimhood. They are left alone in a quiet space with their own actions, with no distraction from your noise. And then they must confront the questions. I acted poorly, yet they safeguarded my reputation. They remained gracious, poised above the fray. Your integrity highlights their deficit. Your character illuminates their pettiness. Your calm demonstrates to the world who truly possesses strength. People will observe. You are the one with depth. You are the one who evolved. You are the asset they were unwise enough to discard. Never descend to the level of someone who harmed you. Reside above, in the clear atmosphere where your silent grace echoes more powerfully than any retaliation. True strength is a quiet climate the storms of others cannot penetrate. Discipline 5, private emancipation. And here we arrive at the ultimate key, the most liberating practice of a truly sovereign spirit. Within the private chamber of your own heart, quietly, you release them. Wait, this isn't about them deserving it. They may never merit such a release. This isn't contingent on an apology that may never come. You release them for your own emancipation. Philosophical wisdom teaches that clinging to resentment is akin to swallowing a toxin and waiting for the other to fall ill. As long as you harbor bitterness, you remain yoked to them. The chains of grievance can be heavier than those of affection. They still influence your rest, your focus, your inner dialogue. Sever the tether. Let it go, like watching a leaf drift down an endless river. But this is the essential part. You never inform them of this release. Do not send a "I forgive you" text. Do not arrange a meeting for symbolic closure. No, you emancipate yourself in silence and you proceed. Why maintain the secret? Because this is the highest form of autonomy. When you release privately, you reclaim every quantum of your energy. The ache no longer disrupts your sleep. The soreness no longer taints your good days. You become lighter, unburdened, free like a door opening to a vast, sunlit plain. And they will sense this transformation, even at a distance. Energy does not deceive. When they hear of you, when they glimpse you from afar, they'll perceive a fundamental shift. You no longer bear the gravity of the shared past. You are luminous. You are at peace. That unnerves them more than any hostility ever could. It signifies you didn't just move on. You evolved beyond the entire paradigm, not partially mended, not performing wellness, but wholly complete. They realize they cannot negotiate their way back in. They cannot repair what's been transcended. You have processed that emotional data and archived it permanently. That is when the most profound form of regret crystallizes within them. They think, I wounded someone who possessed the grace to internally release me, and now I can never reclaim that connection. They've ascended beyond my reach. Your private emancipation is your ultimate gift to yourself, and it becomes their most significant, irrevocable loss, the unbreakable core. Look closely. This path is not one of petty vengeance. It is the path of the unbreakable core. These 5 disciplines were never merely about manufacturing regret in another. Their greater purpose is to guide you back to your own sovereignty. When you become a polite ghost, you honor your present moment. When you architect a radiant reality, you honor your future potential. When you master your emotional climate, you honor your inner peace. When you choose the dignity of unspoken truth, you honor your inherent worth. And when you privately emancipate, you liberate your very soul. Stop investing another moment scheming about how to make them ache. The most satisfying outcome is the moment you glance backward and realize with genuine surprise that they simply don't occupy your thoughts anymore. You have already prevailed, not because you defeated them, but because you grew beyond the need for any victory over them. If you're ready to shed the weight of what was and step firmly into a brighter self-authored chapter, let me know in the comments by writing, I am my own foundation. And if this perspective on resilient philosophical living resonates with you, please like this video and subscribe to Mindshift Philosophy. Together we build minds that cannot be shaken. Thank you for your time. Live with intention.